Hello friends, long time no see. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time and it's for a good reason. I graduated for the most part from college. I'm working again now, so I'm pretty busy. I haven't been really putting out that much content lately. Not as much as I want to, but here I am. And I thought there wouldn't be a better way to kind of give back to all of you than to give you guys some advice, some critique on your photos. For me, I've learned a lot just from having people critique my photos. For the most part, I do it on Reddit. I post it in the photo critique subreddit, and I have random strangers tear me apart and totally destroy my self-esteem as a photographer, but it's great. You know, here I am now. I'm a lot better than when I first started taking photos and posting them on Reddit, so that's good. So I had some of you guys send me your photos, which I really appreciate everybody who did send me theirs. I'm gonna get right into it. If you guys want to send me your photos and if you want me to critique your photos, just send them to me on Instagram. For the most part, I don't really have a way in which I've really thought about doing this. I just kind of want to look at the photos and, you know, tell you what I think about it, tell you what I think you could do better with them. Send me the photos and tell me like, hey, these photos are for a critique. Tell me what you took them on. Tell me what, like if it was film, what film you shot it on. If it was digital, tell me what camera you took it on and what lenses and that sort of thing. It's a lot more helpful for me to critique because then I kind of know more of like what went into it. And if you know the settings that you shot the photos at as well, that would be immensely helpful as well. Also, I'm not trying to bully any of you or anything. If you feel hurt by anything that I say, I'm sorry. I really don't mean to. I know that I'm very harsh with myself and I try to not be that harsh with other people, but I just hope you know that this is all coming from a good place. By no means do I consider myself a professional photographer. I'm just here to help people get more into photography. I have a lot to say in terms of helping people start photography, and so I'm here for that. I don't have a lot to say in terms of like professional tips, but I just can talk about like what I've experienced and what I know could help. So first off, I'm gonna be critiquing this photo by Jamie on Instagram. I'll drop her handle right here for you. We're gonna be talking about this photo. So right off the bat, I really enjoy it. Like the colors are awesome. It actually reminds me a lot of a photo that I've taken before. This is a style that's been popularized by Brandon Wolfel. I really hope I pronounced that correctly, but I think it's really cool. Neon lighting reflecting on people's skin, I think is a really cool look. I like the sort of, I can't really tell if that's like an orange or if that's more of a red, but that and the blue tones are really good. I think it's cool how you have the words next to her face. I don't know if it's like moving to the side or if it's just like always there. I think it's a really good shot. I think the framing is really good. She says that she took this on a 50mm lens, which I love the Canon 50mm lens. She took this on a Rebel T6, I believe. And I mean, I'm recording this on a Canon T5 High right now. So we're basically on the same level using the same equipment. So it's awesome. I love to see it. Yeah, overall, really great job. I really like that one. I don't know how much this has been edited, but something that kind of caught my eye is how on the left side, you can see kind of the words on her shoulder. And I don't know, I don't really know where that's coming from, but maybe like if it's a reflection or something, I really don't know. But maybe if it's something that you did in like Photoshop, I would maybe pay more attention to that, because if anything, that's my biggest criticism with this, is that I don't know where the lettering is coming from or like why it's there. So yeah, that's something to look into. Other than that, great job. I think the lighting is amazing. Great expression, everything. So great job, Jamie. And next up, we got this photo from Shaylee on Instagram. Here's her at. So right off the bat, I think it's a good photo. I think one of the biggest things that I would say needs to be improved in this is that the crop is a little bit off. I like the amount of space that you've given her in the photo. I feel like there could be a little bit more space on the left, just that way that way it feels more balanced. But the biggest thing for me is that the crop cuts off the bottom of her fingers on the bottom of the frame, and as well it cuts off at kind of an awkward point on her legs. I feel like either this needs to be a more up close and personal shot or taken more at a distance. There's something that I saw a little while back, and it's a chart that shows the points in which you should crop for portraits. But basically there are some spots on the human body where it just looks awkward for you to crop. Like, it makes sense if you're gonna take a headshot and it's just a photo of their head and you cut off like right here or something, that's totally okay. But if you cut off like partway through the arm or partway through the leg, then it's awkward, because it leaves stuff out of the image that just makes it look just a little bit off. I'm not doing it justice right now by talking about it, but just look at it and maybe look around at some portrait photographers that you really like and see where they crop. That would be my biggest thing. And lastly, with the bokeh that's on her face, I would try and just position, because I'm guessing that's like grass or something, so, some sort of plant that you shot this at a pretty wide aperture, so there's the bokeh on her face. But I would say just get that away from her face, because that's kind of that's the subject of the photo and you don't really want anything covering that up. I do like that you have the plants kind of around like her arms area. I think that looks great. But my biggest thing is that if you could move those plants, that way they're out of the face, then I think that would be great. I think it's a really great location. I think she has a good expression on her face. Overall, I think it's a good image. I think if you were to take into account, like I said, the cropping of it and maybe moving some of the plants out of her face, I think it would go a really long way. All right, and up next we got this photo by Melissa B on Instagram. My initial thoughts are that I think it looks really good. I like the blues that she got on it. She told me that she shot this on, I believe, Fuji Superia 400 film. I personally haven't shot Fuji Superia. I actually haven't shot any Fuji film that I can think of, but I really like the colors in this. I like the dead space with the sky. I think my biggest thing would be the composition for this. That would be my biggest critique. I'm a sucker for symmetry, so I think maybe if you were to have shot this building straight on and that way you had everything like perfectly symmetrical in frame, I think that would have gone a long way. That's definitely my personal preference, but just the angle that the building is shot at right here, I'm not the biggest fan of. Like I said, I really like the dead space and how it really draws your eye to the building itself. The tree that's in the frame kind of bugs me as well. I obviously don't know the location, but I think if you were to line it up so it's perfectly like in the center of the frame, perfectly symmetrical, and without the tree in the way, I think that would improve the photo a lot. But that being said, like I said, I love the colors on this. It's a really cool building. I'm interested to see what's around the building, because this reminds me of a photo that I took of the Space Needle where, I mean, it looks like the Space Needle's the only building around, but I mean, it's just all in the crop and the angle that I took the photo at. So I think there's a lot there for you. The biggest thing, like I said, for me is the composition. I think that it could be improved, but overall, I like the idea behind it. Up next, we got these fish from JessieJess8855 on Instagram. My initial gut reaction is that I love the colors in this. I think the fish, I think you got him at a good angle. I really like the dead space that's around him. I love how moody everything is with it. I think the editing was done really well. I feel like for me, my biggest thing would just be to edit out that little bit of orange on the top right corner. That way all of your attention is directed at the fish. I love the framing of it. I love that the brightest fish are on that bottom left third. Yeah, I love how it's kind of split diagonally in the frame. Basically everything is on this section of the frame. I think it's really great. One thing that I might say is that it is a little bit busy, but I mean, that's by no means a huge critique. Maybe I would say make the water even darker to make it even more dead space, but overall, I think it's a really good job. I love the colors, I love the framing, the composition, everything about it. I'd be interested to see what the original photo looks like, whether or not it was a RAW or just a JPEG file. Like before it was edited, I'd love to see that because like I said, it's super moody and I really enjoy that. So great job. Next, we got this photo from a fair by Blue on Instagram. Right off the bat, I really love those colors. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. Kind of like what I said earlier, I feel like one of my biggest improvements would be to line up this, whatever attraction this is. It's not like a roller coaster. It's one of those spinny things, I believe. If you were to line that up dead center, where everything is like perfectly symmetrical, because I mean, like if you could have it so those arrows right here at the bottom, those go right down the dead center of the frame, I feel like that would do a ton for it because I love the dead space in this photo. I love the colors that you have. I feel like if you could have it so the very top of this ride would line up on the upper third, I think that would be amazing. I think it's a good photo. I think my biggest thing is the composition with it, and I feel like once you got that down, it would take you a long way. Yeah, everything about it is awesome. The way the lights are popping out, the way that the sky is lit, everything is just incredible. So great job finding that. I still think it's a good picture. I think it's really nice to look at, but I think if you wanted to take it to the next level, I think the composition is the biggest thing that could be improved on this because yeah, I really like it. I think you did a really good job. Good job, Blue. We got another photo from Blue. She sent me a bunch of them and I thought I would go through a couple. But this one, I feel like I like the lighting of it. I think it's an interesting place. I feel like my biggest critique of it would be to take the photo at a different angle than just like standing there with your phone. She said that she took all these photos with her phone. So instead of just like standing there and taking the photo like that, I would say try and change the way that you think about a scene and try and take a photo from a more unique perspective or a more unique angle than just the way that you look at it when you're like walking through the area. I think if you were to take the photo more at like the level of the water, I think that would be a really cool angle because then it would show kind of the detail in the grass, in the water, that sort of thing. And it would also show kind of the perspective and like the contrast in heights in terms of like you being close to the ground and the trees being up there. And I like that you got the sun behind the tree. I think that's a cool, I guess, angle to take it at. I think it affects the lighting in a really cool way. And yeah, I think it would also be good if you picked like a specific subject and really focused on it. So if you were to be like close to the ground, maybe have it so you're not focusing on the stuff close to the ground, you use it more as like the foreground, and then you're focusing on that tree, or vice versa. I think just because, I mean, the way the phone cameras tend to be are they want to focus on everything, but I feel like one of the keys to photography is to find that one thing in particular that you want to focus on and really going for it. So I hope that made sense. In my mind it did, but if you have any questions about it, I mean, you already have contact with me, so feel free to just send me a message about it. But I hope for all of you that made sense as well, because that was one of the things that I really had issues with when I picked up photography was I wanted to take pictures of just everything. Like I would be out for a walk and I would see like a flower, but I didn't want to take just a picture of the flower. I was like, I want to take a picture of everything. And so I would, you would drop it down to f/22 or whatever so you could get focus on everything. And, it wasn't until later that I realized I just need to focus on something. And by no means is this me trying to be rude about this photo. I feel like I'm talking more about my own photography at this point. But just finding one thing to hone in on and really going for it, I think will take you a long way with photography. And up next we got this image from Sarah on Instagram. Initially, I like the sign. I think it's a really cool sign. I love the reflections of the colors and the neon on the building next to it. I like the framing. I like how it's kind of on that right third in the bottom right corner. I feel like for me, one of my biggest issues with it is that it doesn't appear to be fully in focus. The way that you could solve this is maybe by increasing your ISO and dropping your shutter speed. Or if if it's not a shutter speed issue and if it's just like the focusing, maybe try and go for a manual focus. I feel like nighttime photography is so difficult, especially handheld. It takes a lot of practice for sure. You say you took this on a Rebel T3 with a 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. So if you were to, I believe the lowest aperture for that is f4.5. So I would say shoot at f4.5 to get as much light as possible in. Since you're only focusing on that one sign, you don't need front to back focus. But I would say do what you can to make the shutter speed as fast as you can while you can still expose it. And if that means adjusting your ISO, so be it. Like I said, I love the colors, I love the reflections, I love the sign. The biggest thing is that it's not crisp, it's not sharp, it's not totally in focus. So if you could find a way to like go back and retake it and take it in a way that it is in focus, or if you have a tripod, bring your tripod. That way it is just razor sharp. So for me, that's what I would say. I think you did a good job. If you did any editing, I love the colors that you got out of it. I love all the dead space that's around the sign with all the black. So overall, I do like it. I think there's a lot there. If you were able to get it like perfectly sharp, then I think it would be good. Then we got this photo from Alexa on Instagram. First things first, I love the view that you had here. I think it looks amazing. I want to be there right now. It's super gray outside in Seattle. I love the blue in the water. I think it looks good. I feel like my biggest thing with this is that it's slightly unbalanced. I think you got really close, but I don't know. I'm a sucker for the rule of thirds. And so if it was possible for you to get equal parts rocks, equal parts water, and equal parts sky, I think it would be great. I think it would be a very interesting shot, just because of like the color contrast and all of it, with sort of the pink and the browns and the reds and the rocks, and then with the kind of blues and teals and like the aqua colors in both the sky and the water. I think it would be really interesting. Maybe in the editing, I would say add a little bit more contrast. That way it kind of makes the rocks look a little bit more interesting. But overall, I really like the thought that went into this. Like I said, I really want to be there right now. It looks really warm and nice. But yeah, good job. I'd be interested to see if you had another, like if this is cropped at all, I would love to see that. And then maybe, actually, here, I'll see what I can do. If I can take this, I'll edit this, or I'll crop it. Let's see if my phone wants to load it. But maybe if it was something like, it's not perfectly 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, just because there's not a ton of sky available in the shot. But something like that, I think would take it a long way. So I hope you appreciate that feedback, because I do like where your head was at when you took this. I think it was a good idea. Then this next photo comes from Mackenzie on Instagram. I really like the lighting and everything. I think it was a great location. I love the lighting on her face. I feel like for me, like I've said before, I'm not a portrait photographer, so take my opinions with a grain of salt, but I think something that would benefit this photo would be if you were to just kind of clean up her hair a bit, since it's kind of all over her shoulder. And I think you said you shot this at f1.4. Since you sent this to me on Instagram, I think it might have been compressed, because I definitely don't have the full quality version of this photo. But if I did, I would be able to tell more accurately the focus, because if on your version of this, it is perfectly focused on her eye, then great job. It looks like it's pretty close. Just one thing that I've learned about portrait photography is that you really have to work hard at getting that razor sharp focus on the eye, because that's the most important part of a portrait. Other than that, I think maybe I would say a little bit about the cropping on it. Maybe it's just the posture, or like you could leave a bit more space by her shoulder. I'm not totally sure about it. I think overall you did a really good job with this, and I like it a lot. I like it as is. I'm not saying that there's a lot that needs to be changed with it, but just personally, I think if I were to shoot this, I would maybe go tighter. That way you don't even see like her leg or her shoulder, and that way you don't have to worry about the hair or anything like that. Here, I'll take it and I'll try and crop it like I did with the previous one. And I like that. I think having a nice sort of tight crop like that is good. And especially if you could get in tighter with your lens, like at f1.4, that would allow you to get like perfect sharpness and perfect focus. So I think you would benefit from that. That's just my opinion, of course. All of this is just my opinion. You don't have to listen to me at all. But yeah, I really like the photo. I think you did a really great job. All right, and last but not least, we got this photo right here. I would try and pronounce your name, but it's all in Russian, so I'm unable to. I apologize, but I'll put her Instagram right here. I think it's an interesting photo. I like the way that you have sort of that gate with the little spiky things. I don't know why I can't think of the word for it, but I like how you have it in the foreground and how it's blurred out, and how you have like that plant and the building. I think there's a lot of depth with it. Personally, I feel like one thing that I would benefit from is just cropping it at an angle to where the lines are straight. That's just my personal preference. And another thing that I would say is that overall, like I love the thought that went into it, but personally, I don't personally find the building to be that interesting. If I knew what the building was more specifically, it would give me more context, but just from my point of view, I don't know, I'm not personally drawn towards this building that much. I do like the framing of everything. I think it looks good. I love the bright whites, and I love the dark shadows. So I like the thought that went into it. I think you said that this was shot on film. I think you said Color Plus 200, or maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, Kodak Color Plus 200 film. So I can appreciate a fellow film photographer. Yeah, I think the colors look good on it, but personally, I think my biggest thing would be just the subject itself. I don't find to be incredibly interesting. So not that there's a lot with that you could change, but maybe if there was like a specific aspect of the building itself that you wanted to focus on, then it would be more interesting. I don't know, that's just me. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but yeah, that's my input. I hope it helps. I will say, it's kind of a menacing looking building. I'm very interested to know what's going on inside of it, because it doesn't seem to be a very lively building, if that makes sense. So, you know, if you could shoot me a message and tell me what the building is, that'd be interesting. But thank you for submitting, I appreciate it. I hope I could be of some help. So that's it. I hope you guys learned something from this video. This is something that I'm new to. I honestly don't have very many friends who are into photography, so I don't get around to like giving feedback on photos very often. I hope I was able to point out some things that some of you could learn from this. If this was your photo, thank you for submitting it. I hope you learned something from this. I hope you don't hate me after me posting this video. But yeah, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching. Looking to put out more content soon. I really want to start a series on just like the basics of getting into photography. I've just been so busy with everything else, like with school and with work, that I just haven't gotten around to making any content. But yes, thank you for everybody. I hit 10K followers. I mean, I think I'm at 11.2 followers on TikTok now, which is insane. I'm super appreciative of all of you. And yeah, that being said, thank you everybody. I can't wait to continue this ride on YouTube more. I'm very excited. And yeah, thanks again. I'll see you soon. Bye.